distributors. But I think it's designed there, and I guess they ship it here because I get it in a normal time frame. If I wait 2 months.
No, it doesn't take 2 months to get stuff from Japan.
I'm exaggerating, but
we're not talking Sekiro time or anything. Woo! What's up, everybody? Woo! Got my EVE Online shirt on.
I was wondering what that was.
It's called Evolution.
I only saw the top. I didn't see.
It says EVE down here
at the bottom.
But it's showing like evolution, like monkey to man, and then pod.
That's awesome.
It's a player design from a couple years back. Some player wrote it up, and CCP liked it, took it, and made T-shirts and sell them now. And I think he gets a cut of the royalties. But
oh, that is sweet, dude.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt.
Mine is Greedo.
Greedo shot first.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. This is from. I have to plug this website, Uniqlo. UNIQLO. It's a Japanese company. That is why the design is so awesome. They have a Marvel line. They have Star Wars. They got a Mario line, I think now, and Sesame Street. But the Sesame Street. Yeah, but it's like it's a street artist named Kaws, Kaws, and he takes all the Sesame Street characters and puts X's in their eyes.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen. I have a Snoopy one like that. It's like a dead Snoopy. So he does like dead Sesame Street. Anyway, the website is awesome. You get these T-shirts are so well made, and they are like $15.
Oh, wow.
Just can't freaking beat, man. It's totally
locally
great.
Distributed, like on the United States distributed from U.S., or do you have to ship them?
Yeah, it's from the U.S. I think they just have stateside, distributors. But I think it's designed there, and I guess they ship it here because I get it in a normal time frame. If I wait 2 months.
No, it doesn't take 2 months to get stuff from Japan.
I'm exaggerating, but
we're not talking Sekiro time or anything.
Welcome to Comically Gaming 144.
Oh yeah, welcome to Comically Gaming episode 144.
We just dove right
we just started talking. Everyone's like, "What are we watching?" I don't know.
Yeah,
just two dudes in white T-shirts and
two dudes in white tees. That's it. So, what'd you do this week, Jeff?
Well, I think I said last week that I started picking up Red Dead Redemption 2.
I know where you got to.
Yeah, trying to get through it, trying to finish it. And Saint Denis was cool. It was kind of cool.
Awesome, dude. And I don't. I mean, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it's. If you are. I want to counsel that I don't think it's a spoiler, but if you are afraid of hearing a spoiler for Red Dead, jump out right now.
Yeah, Nate, stop listening.
But it is based off of New Orleans. I'm telling you, to like a freaking T, man. Like, I feel like I've seen buildings in that setting in the quarter, like exact.
Do they have like their street names that are in tiles on the corners?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a big thing here.
I think they really took the inspiration from New Orleans to make that city, because even as you get into it, you get all the Spanish moss hanging from the trees.
Oh, it's so awesome.
The
outskirts,
the swamps, and going out, and alligators scared the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah, no, it was one of my favorite parts of the game. Absolutely, I felt like I was walking through the city I live in. I mean, it was trippy. It's trippy.
My only complaints outside of the gunplay issues that Rockstar can't get right is actually horse mechanics.
Yeah.
Because you can't even... You think that your horse keeps moving as you're going, but you figure that if you're walking and you let up off the thumbstick, your character stops.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep your horse moving, you'll either hold X or you can push up on the thumbstick to keep it that pace.
Right.
But if you let go of the thumbstick, you expect once you let go that it'll start to slow down, and it doesn't do that.
Right.
And then if you pull back, you expect if you pull back, it'd be like pulling back on the reins, and it would stop the horse. No, the damn horse doesn't stop. And I'll be running through Saint Denis, and I was like, "Woo, I'm gonna run through town." And I was cutting this corner a little too sharp, and I hit something. I think I ran over a sign, and all of a sudden I'm wanted for public disturbance. I'm like,
they are tight, dude. Yeah, they're totally tight there.
They're Gestapo tight is what they are.
I know. But the shops are so awesome. Like the bars, you know, everything in that city is just great. And I just love that you could really live in that game. Just it's transcendent. Like it's once you get in the thick of it, you want to play it. I mean, it does get long though. By the end, you're like, holy crap!
Especially after
you're about halfway through there.
The weirdest game transition I've ever played. The weirdest, like 180 from what you think the game is doing at the end of it just where you start off and what the game you're playing for half the game you're playing it and you're doing this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now you're somewhere else and you're like,
yep.
If you describe this in a way, you'd be like, how can you get from here to here?
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a 180. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's like, why am I here? But no, it's pretty good. It's just I started getting irritated because I was on the horse a lot, and I was like, stop, horse. And if someone picks a fight with you and starts punching you, you get in trouble by the law. I'm like, I didn't even start the fight.
Right.
He started it.
Yeah. Those ratty kids they got there.
Oh, dude, I want to beat that little kid's ass. So I tried to rob a guy, and that turned out badly because there happened to be a witness.
Yep.
And I couldn't kill the witness fast enough. And so...
it gets to be a mess, yeah.
I was in this alley, and I found a ladder up on a rooftop, and it was the only way up there, and so I took a stand. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, how high can I get my wanted bounty up?
Yeah.
They kept coming up. I thought, man, at one point I was like, okay, I must have killed every cop in this city. Because they come up the ladder, and I'd watch them come, I'd shoot them off the ladder, and it was just, I had piles of cops. So I never ran out of ammo, because I would just go loot the bodies for ammo.
Yeah.
And I would just sit up there, and I got my bounty up over $1,000.
Wow.
And
that's sweet.
And I didn't see anyone, and I got bored because I couldn't get on with the mission.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, I'll just die because this isn't gonna end right. But then one time, I turned a bounty into the cops. Everything was fine. Turned the body in. The minute I completed the quest, I got a wanted for something. I don't know what.
That's crazy.
And the dude tried to shoot me. The police chief tried to shoot me, so I shot him. Well, that was a big mistake. Because the whole map turned red. There's red dots everywhere. I was like, oh, this is going to end bad.
It's touchy. Yeah.
Then the other thing I've been playing is Eve. For those of us that follow Eve news, there is a massive war starting, and
So who precipitated it? Like, who kicked that off? That just happens?
We did, yeah.
Is that are you trying to gather resources? What's the reason behind the war?
Just generate content.
Oh, you just picked somebody out and said, I'm going to fight.
Well, yeah, we have our rivals. I mean, we have our rivals, and we wanted to just have some fun and go blow stuff up. So we've all deployed up to the north in an area we know really well. It's called Pure Blind, and it's kind of fun because now we're running in during the daytime. We got a lot more Russians playing and Hungarians playing.
Oh, nice.
And then, they cause a little wild card into the mix. But yeah, we deployed to take out this one group called NC Dot, which is Northern Coalition. and then another group called PL, which is Pandemic Legion, and they have a alliance with the Pandemic Horde. It's the big Pan fam of the North.
So how does that work with language?
There's the general local chat is in English, but they can write. They'll type in their native, in their language, and so who can understand it can understand it. But most people speak English. But there's there's Russian factions that have their own chat channel that's all in acrylic, and it's kind of cool.
Nice.
And then lastly, since I'm on the Russia thing, I've been watching that Chernobyl show on HBO.
How are you liking it?
It is really good.
That's awesome. I'm glad you said that. I'm definitely going to check it out now that Game of Thrones is over. We have Sunday night cut out,
It shows the hang-ups to communism as seen through the Soviets' way of running that type of socialist kind of government.
Yeah.
It shows how they could corrupt it only the way the Russians could.
It looks really well shot. The cinematography looks fantastic.
Cinematography is awesome. The costume design is awesome because I feel like I'm seeing, Eastern European, Russian, Soviet kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
In the 1980s when it happened.
That is awesome.
And just it shows how much disregard the Russians have for human life. That it's that and they're proud of it because Russians have always been very revolutionary. And if they don't like something, they're gonna revolt against it, and they understand that it's okay to sacrifice a couple 100,000 people for the good of Russia.
Right. Hey.
And so it's interesting. It's a really good show. It's really well done. Really well written.
That's cool.
And,
I know it depicts the horrors of nuclear technology and what can happen.
It shows the dangers and it shows the effects of penetrating ionizing radiation. Wow. Of what radiation sickness and radiation contamination and radiation can do to a human body. And it explains what it does to the body.
I don't think my wife's going to be able to watch it. She gets grossed out. Like, she starts gagging if there's something even that bad.
The makeup for the radiation victims is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Very gruesome. And I'm sure they took their inspiration from photos because I'm sure that they photographed everything for research and of what it does to the body. And before Chernobyl, they didn't know what it would actually do to the human body because all they could study was Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's interesting. I'm gonna check it out.
It's good. It's really good.
Cool.
And that was my week.
I started reading The Last Wish, which is the first Witcher book in the series. It's the original. I didn't realize it was originally written in Polish, but yeah, I'm reading the English version. Obviously, I don't know Polish. But yeah, I just started it, so I'm not that deep into it. I don't get the sense that it's weird. I've been reading Robin Hobb previously, which is super dense, and her writing is like, it's a lot to get through. But it's fantastic. Her level of detail is crazy. I feel like Andres, Sapkowski is the writer for the Last Wish, The Witcher. His is a lot briefer, shorter. It's not as thick.
Okay.
But his plotting, I think, is good. That's just a surface judgment based off of like the first few chapters I've read. it is weird to be reading about Geralt. It's like this thing that I've already played through, and then seeing. It's kind of cool because you can, after playing the game, reading the book now, you can very much visualize sort of like the people and where you've been in the game and stuff. It's kind of nice. Speaking of games, I'm still playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It's still awesome. I mean, I think you kind of run out of combinations after a while, but the story is so good that you just kind of plug along. You can pick up characters. You can play the bad guys in it, which is kind of cool in the second storyline. I mean, it's not going to take me that much more to beat it and the actual story. But I mean, if you like fighting games, it's cool. It's really for DBZ heads, so I think people that watch it, because it's all the characters and stuff. But the big news is I got this.
Yeah.
Ghost of Saltmarsh, the latest D&D product. And I read the first chapter. It's awesome, man. It's very Greyhawkish, much more than anything that's come out in this generation. I feel like in 5e. I have some ideas about how to run it, and I was gonna throw some curveballs, I think, but I might just do it straight. I don't know. I'm gonna see where it leads me. But I can't wait to get into the shipping mechanics and it's just awesome. It's definitely a cool turn that they've taken with it, to introduce the water-based and sea-based mechanics and stuff. So I can't wait.
What's really interesting about that is when we play D&D on Roll20, and looking at Roll20 on all of the D&D campaigns they have, so you can just buy the pack, load it in, and you can game from it.
Yeah.
They already have Ghost of Saltmarsh up as available in Roll20 to buy everything. So they
post
have
them usually the same day.
They have almost every one of the major campaigns from Tomb of Annihilation, Storm King's Thunder, Lost Mines of Fendelver, Strahd, and yet they do not have this one in there. They do not have.
Sure? You're sure?
I am sure they do not have Out of the Abyss.
Is it because they don't have enough maps?
I think that's the case. That there is actually not enough maps. And I'm sorry to derail from your week, but they don't have there aren't a lot of maps in the Abyss. You have your major city maps, but because it's the Underdark is unmapped, they kind of leave it up to DM's discretion to create your own adventure and then use the cities as the major plot and story moving epics. And it's supposed to be a typical, dungeon crawl trek through undiscovered countries and run into whatever you want.
That's cool. I mean, they should have something, but even if it's just like a pack where you can get the NPCs and stuff,
You would think that would be helpful, but not even
the pictures from the book and all that.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It is. It sucks.
Is Out of the Abyss a standalone adventure, or does it lead into something else?
It can lead into something else, but it's kind of its own thing because it's the real title. The full title is Rage of Demons, Out of the Abyss. So it's not like Tyranny of Dragons, which is the Horde of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat. It's they even have the Tales from the Yawning Portal.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta say, for people that are looking to DM, I bought Curse of Strahd when it came out, and dude, I was blown away by what they give you in those packs. It's just incredible. Like, it sets you up so nicely where your prep time just drastically drops. I would highly recommend if you are running a game in Roll20, to absolutely purchase those packs. It's well worth the $50. I think, because look how much we've used it.
Yeah.
In the time that we've played Stride. I mean, we've used it countless times. It's just helped me so much instead of having to sit there and draw everything out myself. It's great. So yeah, I'm excited, man. One day, in the next group, we'll be playing it. So that's my week.
That's awesome.
Yoo-hoo!
That was a premature news of the week.
News of the week. All right.
Let's just start from the top.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's just start from the top.
I don't know if you watched this. I watched it, and that's why I posted up here, because I've always had a soft spot for Terminator.
It's Terminator Dark Fate trailer for anybody.
Yeah, so once again, Arnold is true to his word. He will be back, and they show him in this trailer. And
I don't understand what his role is in this. Like,
it looks like a protector, and I'm trying to. The only thing I can figure out, though,
in a log cabin somewhere.
He's in a cabin. And he has a beard, and I'm thinking, like, well, let's see, which Terminator can it be? Because every one of them's been destroyed.
The exciting news about this one is that James Cameron's back.
Cameron's back,
That's the
and
news.
Linda Hamilton's coming back to reprise her role.
Linda Hamilton. Also, Tim Miller, the director from Deadpool, is on it. David Goyer is involved. David Goyer is the guy. What did he do? Trying to think of what his big stuff is. He's a co-writer on Call of Duty Black Ops. Screenwriting includes the Blade trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy.
Nice.
And he also did Batman versus Superman, but we won't talk about that. So I liked the trailer, to be honest. I was a little disappointed in some of the CGI.
Yeah, from the trailer, I don't know what to make of the CGI.
But the action scenes look tight, It
was very James Cameron, and I wonder, from what I saw, it looked like they were going back and trying to reprise the stuntman and doing live action stunts instead of CGI enhanced or CGI stunts on a green screen.
Yeah.
Is what it looked like. And it reminded me very much of the first Terminator back from 1984, of the car chase scene before they get to that factory.
Yeah.
And
see that. Yeah.
And that was in the tunnels with the pipe bombs and everything. I'm not talking about the car chase in T2 where they end up with liquid nitrogen, because that's a whole different. But even that was beginnings. That was the precusp of CGI being more realistic, was T2.
Yeah.
And that was like 92, 93.
It was good to see Linda Hamilton walk out with the great
rocket. Yeah.
That was badass.
And so from what I gather is John must be gone at this point, because she's pretty old.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out how they're going to fit this into the timeline, the universe.
Is this following? You think it's following sequentially the other movies?
I think so. The last one was okay. It was okay because they reshot scenes frame for frame from the original.
I enjoyed the one with Christian Bale. I don't remember which one that was.
I think that was Salvation.
Yeah, I like that
Salvation. One. So Terminator Genesis was okay. There's a few things that were like yawn.
Yeah.
But the new Terminator now, it looks kind of cool because it seems like it's both the frame, the Terminator T100 frame and then the T1000 technology, the liquid metal coating over it, because you see him like driving, and he splits off and has like this exoskeleton go out and fight, and vice versa. It was kind of cool how you had two Terminators now to fight with. It was interesting concept. It looks like some other people are targeted now by Skynet because they did something, and they're after him again and send Terminators back in time to try and eradicate them.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I'm Sadakana.
I'm going to give it a shot, man, because it's James Cameron. Mm-hmm. It's his baby, you know. Usually when these creators come back, like Mad Max with George Miller. Yeah. Sometimes when they come back, they give it the treatment that it deserves or has been looking for a while. So,
and sometimes directors they'll have their sweet spot of when they're really good as a director.
Yeah.
And then they gain so much name for themselves that they rest on their laurels and be just like, oh, I'm George Lucas. I can do another Star Wars movie, and then it's just an atrocious pile of shit.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the case of it gone wrong, horribly wrong. So,
but I've always liked James Cameron. He's done some good stuff. He's done some really good stuff. So I am excited for the new Terminator movie.
And it's been a while since he's done anything. I think
it has.
Right? He's been working on those 5 Avatar sequels, I guess.
Yeah, maybe he got bored with Avatar.
Cool.
All right.
The next item, it's big news. Yes. PS5's incredibly powerful backwards compatibility will let you play online with PS4 players.
Which
it's pretty crazy, right?
I hope that there's a proof of concept that this is actually working, and not just
claiming it right now?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's too early. It'd be cool because then if the PS5 is completely backwards compatible, PS4 and maybe PS3 games, then I'm on board with buying a PS5 when it launches so that I can still finish the games that I'm playing on the PS4 and still have the upscaled and capability to buy the newer games as they release.
Yeah.
And
totally.
But they're saying in the article it's because of somewhat of success on the PSN of how you can download PS3 games and play it on your PS4. It's the same way they're looking at it this way. So it's
what I'm curious about is how many people is that? Like, are they going to be able to handle, because you're adding a new gen in with people that are on an old gen? Wouldn't that almost, I'm not going to say it's going to double it because only a certain fraction of those people are going to upgrade to the PS5.
Yeah, right away.
Some people are going to stick with the PS4 for a while before they
It's going to be the same numbers. It's going to be because the only thing you would have is if you had net adds of people that never had a PlayStation,
right,
or jumping on the PlayStation 5.
Gotcha.
But for the most part, it's going to be PS4 players.
Yeah, they'll just convert
buy the new console and convert over. So you won't see that huge of it. But I'm curious to know. That's why I want a proof of concept that this is going to work, because in the past they've cut backwards compatibility to get the systems out at a decent price point. That's my biggest hang-up.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Also, they also claim at this same presentation that they'll offer seamless remote play cloud gaming. I don't know what that entirely means.
It sounds like that they're trying to take on competition for the Stadia.
Yeah, and Netflix.
But they're not gonna use that as their main selling point. They're just gonna say we can do this too.
Yeah.
But you get a PS5.
Right.
And also, you get Last of Us 2.
Yeah, right. That's true.
And Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's too early. It'd be nice, but they're not going to be at E3 if they had an announcement at E3. But they're not going to be at E3 because they're starting to follow suit and do their own state of plays like Nintendo.
But something that will be at E3 leads us into our next article. Cyberpunk 2077 will show gameplay at E3. Now, they say that they're not going to have somebody that's
not playable.
Yes. It's not playable by the audience, let's say, right? You can't walk in.
But it's gameplay.
It's gameplay, which is important. I've seen enough to be already sort of like, it's going to be the next big game of that gen.
Yeah. I'm anticipating a lot. I really am. Every time, just thinking about it, I don't even watch videos, but I think about the 40-minute video that they launched, they showed, and I'm just like, dude.
It's so incredible. There's something about the style that they bring to their games. I mean, the same way that they did The Witcher. It's a very unique aspect of culture and single player gameplay that they bring to the experience that just sets them apart. So and it's so incredibly detailed in terms of gameplay. I cannot wait.
And I think that what they showed us in that video from the 40 minutes last year, it really pulls on the great gritty sci-fi that we want to have, where it's like a combination of Blade Runner, kind of Judge Dredd kind of environment, where
definitely Judge Dredd,
yeah, very Judge Dredd, and I think that's why it's
Fifth Element,
it's that great super fantastical sci-fi.
Yep, I can't wait. At this point, we're starving for any sort of like tidbit of news from Cyberpunk 2077 that we can get. So it's going to be exciting. Next item is some comic book news. For people that have been reading, this set the comic book world aflame this past week. Tom King, there were rumors at first, and then it kind of leaked that Tom King was not going to be finishing the Batman 100 that he established and claimed. So basically the thing with Tom King was that he was gonna, and this is an award-winning series. I mean, he got Best Writer last year for this book. So Tom King on Batman's a big deal. I mean, it's their chief product. He initially stated at the beginning of his run that he was going to go a full 100 issues, which is a lot. I mean, it's a lot to commit. In the comic book world, where people jump all the time, to commit 100 issues is a big deal, specifically to Batman. So it came out that he was going to leave 15 issues early, which he would not confirm nor deny, but he thanked people online for all the sweet notes that he was sent and the support, but he wouldn't confirm anything. And that's because 3 days later, after that news came out, he and DC confirmed that he is leaving early to write Batman Catwoman to finish his Batman storyline.
After the wedding.
Yeah, which kind of is a spoiler. If you consider where we're at in the storyline right now, after the wedding and after what happened there, and where Batman's at mentally right now. Now we know that they get back together.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at least that's what we think from seeing that headline. Maybe he throws a curveball. But he did say that it is going to wrap up his story that was originally going to be completed in that Batman 100 issues. So, I mean, it's awesome. I love their relationship. I like the way that he writes the two of them together. I don't always enjoy his book. I think sometimes he gets a little more cerebral than what, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I'm not saying that I don't like Batman as a cerebral character. Absolutely, but sometimes it's a little too lofty and scatterbrained, I guess. But I'm excited, man. We'll see. I'd like to see him put a bow on it. I like seeing storylines completed. And Batman is absolutely deserving of Tom King finishing it. So, Yeah, looking out for that. I think also DC is gonna. They were doing double publications a month. They're gonna draw that back to single again, so it'll be back to once a month. They were doing twice a month. So yeah, every 2 weeks Batman was dropping and some other titles, but that's a lot. Yeah,
that is.
Yeah,
there's a lot to. That is a lot to
that's cool.
add in there.
It is. It is. Monthly is a lot more normal, I think. That's kind of what you expect from a publisher. So, next up, Taika Waititi's Akira movie is set for 2021 release.
Oh, wow.
He confirmed that he's going to be using Asian actors for it. Mm-hmm. So, we're not going to get the same. What's the one with Scarlett Johansson? I can't remember the name of the film, but all the hubbub.
Ghost in the Shell?
Yes. Yeah. We won't get that same eruption, I think. That happened after that. I want to see if they can pull off Akira. I mean, we're talking about the best anime film of all time. I think it's not an easy goal to pull off, to convert that movie into live action, but we'll see, Yeah. I think he's an interesting choice for a director for that. I mean, I like his stuff. I think he was Ragnarok, I believe. Okay. So I'm curious to see, but that's still a ways away. So 2021, hopefully we'll get some more news on it coming up. So the next one is Jeff. This is more your area here. Star Wars movie based on Knights of the Old Republic, reportedly in the works.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this in the past, and it is still up in the air. I mean, I think it would be a great idea, good movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There's a lot of content to pull from, right?
There is a lot of content, and then using that, you don't have to worry about upsetting fans with canon for Star Wars. Right. And actually, you could go back and use, some of the pre-prequels created stories and characters in this movie, and from Knights of the Old Republic.
That's cool. I mean, is there anybody that we've seen? Let me ask you this: where's that timeline fit in?
I thought it was like, I want to say 300 years prior to Star Wars. I think, yeah,
big deal.
It's either it's not 3,000, but it was like 3 years, 300 years. Oh, yeah. No, I was wrong. I was closer. My initial gut feeling was 3,000. It's more like 4,000 years.
4,000, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4,000. I see it. Before the rise of the Galactic Empire that occurred in the Revenge of the Sith. Darth Malak or Malik?
Malik, yep.
Wow. I'm totally interested, man. I love the lore outside of the main trilogy. I'm totally excited about any content that's in that universe that's not around, a solo movie or.
Yeah, as long as you're not showing the fans. I mean, if you keep it, everyone has enough understanding of the Force, the Jedi, and the Sith, and I think it'd be
biblical. Yeah,
it'd be great if they fleshed out more of the Sith religion, like for the fans that have read and played other games that talk about the Sith.
Yeah,
and it would be great to flesh it out and see what they truly were about and what the Jedi were really supposed to do.
Yeah,
I think it'll be really good. It'll be interesting if they add some of the flavors of characters, like use the Mandalorians, use a smuggler, and take on from not just the old BioWare games of Knights of the Old Republic, but from just Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Which was the last MMO that came out from.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's
and that was a BioWare EA game.
Yeah. So no, that's awesome, man. I'm totally pumped.
I would be down for that. Come check out D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe at 8228 Oak Street, 2 blocks off of Carrollton in Uptown New Orleans. D4 has everything from TTRPGs to CCGs, including board games that you can rent for in-store play or to take back home. D4 also serves sandwiches, po' boys, salads, and more. So if you're in the neighborhood, stop by Oak Street and check out D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe, the best critical hit in town. Woo! Woo! Hot topic.
Woo!
Hot topic. So hot. So this week's hot topic,
Jeff hot.
We're talking about another free expansion for EVE Online.
What does that mean when you say expansion?
So it's basically like it's an expansion, and it's different than a patch because an expansion will add new content and new storyline. Because it's not really a storyline in EVE. It adds new content. It does a lot of major balancing, and they do usually something that changes the overall architecture to be better.
Wow.
So like patches, when they do patches,
does it have a name?
Yeah, the new expansion is called Invasion.
Invasion. Cool.
Invasion. So they started off with they started off with these incursions that was some rogue factions throughout the EVE universe that would start going in and just, make a system really hard to get through. And if you wanted to participate in your incursion to save the system from being taken over, you would have to do these certain wickets, and you'd have to, fight this many and then hit the trigger, and it would trigger something else and trigger another spawn. And you kept doing it, and you would get like some really good loot out of it, right? And
right.
You do it all for loot and salvage and stuff to sell so you can make money. And
for the people that don't know, I mean, just real quick in like 2 sentences, tell them what EVE is first. We probably should have let off with that. I know that we talk about EVE on here, but for any new listeners, yeah.
No, EVE Online is just it's a sandbox.
Gotcha.
It's
a MMORPG.
It's an MMO in the sense that you play with massive amounts of people, and you can role play. So yeah, but it's a sandbox. Internet. It's just internet spaceships with spreadsheets. It's really good.
There you go. That's a perfect description. So EVE Invasion, huh? Are people pumped for this? Like long-time Evers, or
it gives you something to do if you don't want a PvP. But honestly, most of EVE is all PvP.
Yeah. How often do these come out?
Every 6 months.
Okay, cool.
Every 6 months, and they're always free.
That's great.
And it's free to everybody. So you do have the option to not subscribe to EVE Online, but you are capped on how much skill points you can have and what you can do, what ships you can fly on a free account. They've opened it up where you can fly more now with a free account, but there is a cap of what you can do on the free account versus what you can do with the paid subscription. But the expansion is free to everybody, so it rolls out because there's only one server.
Yeah,
there's only one server for the world. And
does that the new content that they inject with the expansions, do those factor into PvP play? They can, or
they can, because they usually release new ships. And so they release new ships, and they will change. They'll change some stats, and it changes the dynamic of how those those vehicles or the new ships are used in combat or used just in gameplay. But it's one. So like I said, it's one server, and right now, as we're recording this, there are 19,983 people logged in.
That's a lot.
Now, back in the day, it's been out for 16 years. So, I mean, there's a lot of games that have, come and taken some playership. And there is a somewhat of a learning curve with the game.
Mm-hmm.
Where, games usually have a learning curve that's somewhat... you can plot it linearly where it gradually increases as you play the game.
Yeah.
Eve is like you start at the bottom and you start... you get through the tutorial, so that's you come up and you hit like some learning curve, and then the learning curve goes straight up, and then it goes backwards, and then it plateaus.
Right. Nice.
There's a cool graphic that shows it but the game is it's not toxic in the way that you run into guilds in World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have the heavy raiders that are like, oh, if you can't pull this DPS, need to get out. Oh, you didn't study the fight and watch the YouTube video for this fight 20 times. Get out. It's not like that. If you're an asshole to people, they'll be an asshole back, and they'll be a bigger asshole. But
it's a little more supportive. You're saying
it is more supportive. If you ask for help, people will take you under their wing and help you. And they want to do that because they want to attract new players. They don't want to turn their players away and turn their players away.
Yeah.
It's one of the only game out there where the CEO will be hanging with players at conventions and having drinks with them, having dinner, talking to them, having one-on-one conversations to them.
That's cool.
But this new one, so back to this expansion that I derailed off of. Invasion is, they have this sect. They launched this expansion last year, and it was called The Abyss. It was called Abyss, and what it was is this new faction that no one had ever seen before. You got these filaments, basically. They're little keys that you launched the key and opened up a portal in space. You flew into it, and it's probably the most beautiful graphics I've ever seen of a backdrop where it's
not
dark.
Potato mode.
No, you can do it in potato mode. You'd still get some of the effect, but
yeah.
And they're called the Triglavians, and they use like a different type of weapon. And so you activate this gate, and you have 20 minutes to get into the gate, and from when you enter the space, you have 20 minutes to get out.
What?
If you do not make it to the exit gate on the other side, everything you have is gone. Your ship's gone. You blow up, and everyone is in a pod, like one of these. This is your space capsule that you control the ship from.
Yeah.
So when your pod gets blown up, or capsule gets blown up, you activate a new clone in normal space.
Oh, wow.
So if you have like any type of augmentations, so additional plugins to help with skill training or with ship management, like your capacitor, just all this extra boost you can give to your character to give you a slight edge, you lose your ship and you lose your pod and all your loot that you gained at the end of those 20 minutes, and you're done.
Ah.
So there are consequences, and they have, I think it's 5 tiers, and each tier gets progressively harder, and then they limited the type of ship you can take in there. You can only be in their cruiser and below. You can't take anything bigger like a battleship or a capital ship or anything like that.
Okay. Well, are there, like, with this expansion, are there, I'm using D&D terminology here, like NPCs? Or is there an actual story that you kind of follow? Or is it just, like, new ships and...
No, there is a story behind it of the invasion. So in Abyss, you were going into that abyssal space to basically kill stuff and get loot that you could reconstruct and reverse engineer their engineering and have a different type of ship that uses different weapons.
Yeah.
Now it looks like they are invading from their space into Eve proper, into the New Eden, basically.
Okay.
So they're invading, and these dudes are ruthless. They're so it's gonna add to the PvE. So players that just want to go and run missions and make money and live in relative security.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to change, I hope it changes PvP a little bit and throws a curveball during like a war. So like
seems like it would.
We started a war up north. Yeah. And in fact, I think during the recording you may have heard my computer make a weird sound.
Oh, don't. Yep.
Because they're trying to bang the war drums because we have a huge fleet standing up in about 45 minutes. And so it hopefully, if we're in a huge battle, and there's been pretty big battles in Eve, 4,000 people all logged into this one server at the same time in one star system.
Wow.
Where they time dilated everything by like 90% of real time.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What if they dropped one of these invasions in the middle of that on the battlefield grid as you're, fighting, and all of a sudden they drop this invasion in on you. All of a sudden it's new, and they're just targeting whoever. It could really, it'd be interesting if they did that. I don't know if that's the case, but I was listening to Talking in Stations, which is an Eve podcast, and they were talking about it this morning. Mm-hmm. I was watching on Twitch, and I know a couple of people. I've met a couple of people on that podcast at Eve Vegas. But it's cool. Eve is a lot of fun, and they always say it's dying, but it seems like it's getting bigger.
My last question as a newbie outsider, or not newbie, but person that doesn't play. Where are the greatest number of players in the world? Is it a US or?
No, that is a good question. It's hard to say.
Really?
Because
it's pretty evenly split up.
To an extent, yeah. It's so. We have Eve Fest Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Eve Vegas. And then before that they had Eve Fest, which always took place in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik, you mentioned that before,
where the headquarters is. So this year they decided not to do one in Reykjavik, but they took a world tour. So they had one in Toronto. The one in Sydney, Australia just wrapped up today. Yeah, Sydney, Australia wrapped up today. They had one in Amsterdam. Did I say Toronto?
Crazy.
And then they're doing Eve Vegas. So, and
it's really worldwide. I mean,
what's funny is the Fan Fest, except for even Iceland, they all start out as just players coordinated to get together to talk about a video game that they loved.
Wow.
And it got so much fun that the company CCC got a wind of it, and they started putting their money behind this in Iceland, and that grew popularity. So Eve Vegas started out as another one of those, and CCP saw that Vegas is a great place to have that type of a venue, and so they started throwing money into it, and now Eve players are all coming together around the world and trying to make it big enough that they get their attention that they'll throw money at it. And they're actually doing one at I gotta raise my chair. They're actually doing one of the Eve Fan Fests at a guy's house in, I think it's Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually gonna have
his house.
From his house. And he had a nice
awesome.
house. He had to make like a campaign video, and it was really good. I saw it last year in Vegas. So
that's so interesting how widespread it is.
It is, and it's everywhere across the globe. You've got not just the United States, but Great Britain, all of Europe, of course, Russia, Hungary, Japan, China. They're actually going to merge the Chinese server into the U.S. and the rest of the world server. They're talking of bringing those pilots, and they already have.
How does that work there? Because they're pretty tight on their regulations, right?
Well, yeah, and so they're working on it because there's a corporation in game called PLA, and they're Chinese, and then you have Japanese, Koreans, Australians.
That is
pretty much anywhere you have a good internet connection, you can play this game.
Wow.
And,
dude, I think if I had a better computer, I might give it a shot. My PC died, and I'm not in the cards. It's not in the cards for me to purchase something anytime soon because I got my laptop. But when I get a new PC, I'm gonna revisit it.
Well, also with this expansion, this is the last thing I'll talk about, is that they're finally upgrading their client to a 64-bit client instead of a 32-bit client. So that's going to help a lot with memory framing, because in a 32-bit, you only could use a certain amount of space in your memory per frame. And so what this does, 64-bit, it opens that up so that they can do more scaling.
Yeah.
With having a better client that handles memory better.
I gotcha.
So that's a huge one. That's another reason for this expansion is to go. And they actually kicked this one. They got this one early. This wasn't. We thought this was a pipe dream that it was never going to happen.
It was exciting news.
It's only taken them 16 years to get into the future with this.
At least it happened.
So it's
it's
cool.
Awesome.
It's going to be I'm excited, and I'll probably be up tonight in this fleet that's about to form because they keep harassing me about it.
Let me ask you this final question. How often are your sessions? Like, how long do you play? I know you have it on in the background a lot while you're doing other stuff, so you don't really keep track. It's not like a gaming experience where you devote your focus to it, right? Well, like you can kind of.
You can come and go because you don't have to level in the sense of go out and kill 20, wild boars and take the tusks back to this farmer that wants to grow pumpkins. It's not like that. All the skills, as you train skills, it takes real time.
Yeah.
So to fly a frigate class ship, it can take 23 minutes to train level 1. So at the end of 23 minutes, then all of a sudden you can jump into this frigate class ship. But if you want to train those up, train it up to 5, level 1 was at 23 minutes. Level 5 could take you like 6 days.
I got you.
So you have to wait 6 days to get to that. And so you're always training. And that's it's more of learning the game, and there's tons of stuff. You make it what you want it. You make the game what you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you want to work on a day trading on the market and play the market and move goods from one place to another to sell high and buy low, you can do that. If you want to bore yourself to death and mine rocks and asteroids, you can do that. But PvP is a big part of it. You're not always safe unless you're in a space station. If you're not, the only time you're safe is if you're docked up. If you're out, it doesn't matter what level of security of space you're in. You can die from another player.
So you got to pay attention.
Yeah, you got to pay. Oh yeah, you got to pay attention.
Cool. That was our Eve tutorial.
That was our Eve tutorial, hot topic, new expansion. Take it as it is.
Hot topic.
All right. Whew. Well, this is the end of Comically Gaming episode 144.
144.
And as we wrap this up, we want to thank everyone that either watches or listening to our show either weekly or if you binge listen or watch it. You know,
and have a happy Memorial Day also.
And happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
And that goes out to everyone that paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Absolutely.
So not to be confused with thanking active military or thanking a veteran.
Right.
This is to honor the dead is what this day is. It's all the men at Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal. Everyone that's died over in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Dude, I watched a crazy 60-minute special, not to divert too much, but
from the wrap-up.
Yeah, in the wrap-up, I'm sorry. But in 60 Minutes did a feature on a World War II battle that nobody really has featured before that took place in Alaska. The furthest island in Alaska. It's called Achu, I think?
Yeah.
Achu?
Yeah. Yes.
Man, it was fascinating. It's the only time that the U.S. has gave up territory since the War of 1812. I didn't know that.
They don't talk about it.
Right. So
if you like our content,
there. Yeah,
we did.
There you go.
So if you like our content, you want to keep supporting us. There's a great way to do that at patreon.com/GCandC, and all we're asking for is like $1, which is cheaper than a candy bar nowadays.
Yeah.
$1.
Half of a Red Bull.
Half a Red Bull. And then don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at GCandC, and join our Discord and Facebook groups, because a lot of stuff we talk about is actually on Discord and Facebook. A lot of our news topics will sometimes start there with conversations that start there and just filter into the show.
I got to be honest, Discord is now my primary form of communication.
Yeah.
I think I go there first. I don't even have Facebook as an app on my phone. I do check Twitter for news, but I'm always in Discord. Yeah. So join us up there. If you want some sweet merch, I think we're going to have some fresh stuff on the way. If you want to get a t-shirt, mug, hoodie, or a sticker from the Games, Comics, and Culture store, you can head to teespring.com, pick up your merch there. And as always, we'd like to thank Fred Thomas for that opening music and Xee Reiter for our logo, which is great. Thank y'all, everybody.
Appreciate it.